Today, we are going to be talking about a new cloud service that we're providing specifically to you guys. There's an echo. 1 second. Let me see if I can. Is there someone? 1 second. Give me a second. Okay. Hopefully it's better now. Okay, maybe it's a case with someone else saying that they're getting an echo. Yeah, I apologize about that. Yeah, so LTS Platinum Partner, this is a new cloud service that we're bringing in to assist you guys, installers specifically, in setting up during your installations. Okay, so we're going to get straight into this. So let's move on. So what can the Platinum Partner do for you guys as installers? Well, it's kind of a fairly comprehensive suite of tools that are found either based in browser or on app that allows you to do most things that you would have had previously had to install, some software for. For example, the major one is device discovery. So previously you would have had to install Platinum IP Portal in order to find your devices on the network when you're doing installation for your customers. But in this case, the IP Portal software effectively is now found in Platinum Partner itself. So you'll be able to do it without needing any kind of installation software on whatever computer that you're working on or laptop that you're working on, okay? Outside of that, you also have the ability to do remote configuration and also live view and playback. Now, this is kind of like a cloud-based management system, okay? So first of all, you're not really expected to do port forwarding. That is a possibility in this case, but we are looking for use in the cloud P2P service, okay? So for example, PT Cloud, hopefully many of you as our customers do know about PT Cloud and have utilized it at least a few times so that, you can understand what the previous limitations of PT Cloud were. Nowadays, or not nowadays, with Platinum Partner, you will not be required to do any more port forwarding. All the benefits that port forwarding would have previously had, PT Cloud or Platinum Partner is going to have now as well. Okay, so downsides of port forwarding, things like looking for passwords for routers, setting up DDNS if you don't have static IP addresses, or even just worrying about network changes. Someone switches service providers or they have a power outage or something like that. Those all cause potential problems with port forwarding based remote management or remote access. Okay. And again, you can see there, you can access all devices and tools from the browser. We'll be doing a very quick demo after I go through this PowerPoint. So if you guys are wondering about anything and how it looks, you'll be able to see that as well. Now, like I said, IP Portal or device discovery is found in the browser and also on the app. And it does everything that IP Portal would do for you as well. Okay, you're able to locate devices on the network. You're able to activate, assign IP addresses, or enable DHCP, and also reset passwords if that is required. Next, well, the adding process. So for Platinum Partner, what Platinum Partner does is it allows you to add onto an account similar to PT Cloud. Okay, except in this case, these accounts that you're adding onto are going to be installer accounts. Okay, they're meant for you to add for the purpose of configuring or managing prior to you allowing the customer, the end user in this case, to view the system. Okay, so this is mostly for management and not really a viewing system. Okay, this is not really a what would you call it? Like a client system where someone is supposed to be actively watching their cameras or something like that. This is purely to assist you as installers, not for the end user. The end user will still be using LTS Connect. They'll be still using what they would think is called PT Cloud, which is still called PT Cloud. We just have added an extra layer prior to that, prior to you handing it off to them. Okay. Next, and this is a very big one. A lot of people have asked for this, and this is that PT Cloud would not really allow you to do much, if any, configuration over the cloud. If you really wanted a lot of control over devices, you would pretty much have to use port forwarding. Okay, but now with Platinum Partner, you are able to do everything that you could normally do with port forwarding. So direct access over the web, essentially, on Platinum Partner. So there really is no benefit for port forwarding compared to Platinum Partner now. With respect to configuration, okay? And this is actually something that is quite well requested, okay? Next is sharing. So this is another thing where I talked about how there is a separate layer, right? This is your installer account. If you have your end user and your end user wants to be able to view your cameras, previously you would have to do things like they'd have to set up an account, you'd have to walk them through adding the device. So you'd have to say, or maybe you would actually be doing it for your customer, depends on the situation. You'd have to scan the QR code using their phone, which has already been logged into their app. And this is relatively simple, but not all situations is it going to work out. Your end user, the customer, is not always going to be with you. They're not always going to have their phone set up and stuff like that. In those situations, you have to wait for your customer to get to you so that you can walk them through the process of the adding. But with LTS Platinum Partner, you are going to be able to have the ability to provide live viewing, playback, and whatnot. You can see right here in this top box, the permissions to your customer, where your customer doesn't actually have to be on site for you. All you have to have your customer do is create an LTS Connect account. After that, all you have to do is put in the email address or the phone number if they have registered with a phone number, and they will receive the share. And I'll show you guys that in the demo section as well. Okay. And next is the app. So a lot of people do also request to be able to do most of this kind of stuff that I'm talking about through the phone application. There are some customers of ours, installers, who don't bring a laptop, or maybe you forgot to bring a laptop. That's completely reasonable because you're not always going to be ready for whatever situation is at hand. In those cases, we do have an app for you to do pretty much everything that I've just talked about. Okay, so there is going to be two apps. There is the LTS Connect phone app that you see on the right. This is the same app, and it's going to be for your customers, okay, the end user in our case here. There is going to be the LTS Platinum Partner app. This will be for you guys here, okay? This is going to be the app that you are going to create an account for. You're going to be adding devices onto, managing them or configuring them if your customer so requests. And then at the end, once you're done, you can provide access to the customer with the customer never actually needing to be on site, okay? And here I'll show you that the functionality that you find on the phone app is going to be pretty much exactly the same as on the browser. You're able to do IP portal. You can find all devices on the network. Of course, you will need to be on the local network, so you need to be on Wi-Fi in order to do a search of all devices on local network. You're able to do password resets as well. This is with file or with the security questions if you guys ever set those up. And IP portal is the method in which you will add devices onto your LPP account through the phone app. Okay. Here you can see that the sharing is also available here. So you can see that I can share either through a QR code, which is the same way that it would have been done previously with your customer. So your customer would scan the QR code that you see here, or on the right section of this picture, you can see just like before, you can just put in the email address or the phone number of the LTS Connect account or PT Cloud account of your customer. And then they'll be able to receive the device for viewing. Okay. And lastly, you'll be able to get remote configuration from the app. So this is also a long requested feature from many of our customers. And as you can see on the right side of this picture, pretty much everything you could ask for is available for remote configuration. So just like on the browser, where you can change whatever you want, pretty much on the app, you can also do the exact same thing. So if you're out and about and you're not normally ready to do something and a customer calls you and says there's something wrong, this camera doesn't look correct, you can go in and you can take a look at the settings all through the app and potentially troubleshoot and fix whatever issue your customer is having. Okay. So before we Q&A, I am going to walk through the process. So I'm going to show you how the LTS Platinum Partner on the browser looks first. So give me a second. Set this up here. Okay, everyone can see my screen. It should still be shared. Yeah. So here I am logged into LTS Platinum Partner. And at this point, you guys can actually create an account. So you can see here, it's ltsplatinumpartner.com. You can create an account and you can start testing out these features yourself. Okay, these are all, everything that I'm going to show you is all free features. They're not going to be, like, you're not going to be asked to pay for any of the stuff that I'm going to show you. So, you can decide for yourself how good these features are and whether or not hopefully you'll have some feedback for us so that we can provide potentially a better experience for you if you're thinking that it's missing something that you would want. Okay, so once you've logged in, you'll get this home screen which will give you kind of an overview of how your account is. But for most of the situation, you're going to be working under this site and device section. Okay, you're going to create sites and you're going to create groups which have sites. Okay, so in this case, I have an LTS group because I'm an LTS employee, and in LTS group, I've created a site named LTS LA, which has the devices related to our LA account and also a New Jersey account as well. Though I guess I could delete this. So let me just show you that I can do certain capabilities. Okay, so here I have a 32 channel NVR already added in, which is not exactly going to show you everything. So I'm going to add another NVR as well. So in this case, I am adding directly to my installer account. So this is not for the end user. This is for me to use. Okay, I'm going to click Add Device. It's going to scan my local network, and then I'm going to find the NVR I want. Whoops, check it. Click Next. And then all I have to do is type in the password of the NVR. There it is. So device is now added. And you can see here that in my device list, I now have an extra NVR. This is the NVR you can see there. It's an 8716D B16N. And just to show you that, it actually is a working NVR, I'm going to load up the live view. And you can see this is our live view in our LA office. If you guys are LA customers, you may have seen this. This is our new showroom. And, we can already see that there are some customers looking around in our showroom. Okay, now let's see, what else should I show you guys? Oh, there's some people asking about the configuration as well. So I'm going to show you guys all of the configuration that you're capable of. So you can choose either to do with cameras or to do with the DVR/NVR. So you can see here that this device, which is added over cloud, okay, this is not directly added with IP address, so it's not port forwarding. This is over cloud, okay. I have the browser interface, and I can do a lot of the settings changes that previously on PT Cloud were not available. So I can modify my events. I have access to all my VCA events, so intrusion and line crossing, so on and so forth, and also my image settings if those are, so required for you to modify. Okay. And then let's see, what else should I show you guys? Let's do, oh no, sharing. I'll show you on the app how to do sharing. So that's kind of a little bit of what I wanted to show you guys on the browser. There is still a lot more for you to do, but I also have somewhat of a limited amount of time, so I'm going to show you just a bit on the browser. And again, these features are there for you to peruse, so you can create an account right now if you wanted to. And if you have your own testing devices, you can actually go and test out any of the stuff that I'm talking about. This is not something that's purely only accessible by myself, okay? Now let me move this out, and then I'm going to show you guys the app stuff. So give me 1 second while I log into. Okay, so here it is, guys. So I have 2 apps here. You can see side by side. If anyone's wondering, this is Dex. So you guys can actually see that right here in the top left. So this is actually my phone. Okay. On the right is the LPP app. You can see that's right here, LTS Platinum Partner. And on the left is the LTS Connect application. Okay. So here in the app, you can see I have a home section, pretty similar actually to overall how the browser looked. There's a home section and then there's a site section. So pretty much the exact same thing. In the app, I have, of course, IP portal, just like I showed you there, right? I have IP portal, and I could see all the devices on the network, assuming the phone is on the same network. In the device, you can see the 2 devices that I have, and if you wanted to, you can also do live viewing of the devices or playback of the devices, or you can also do configuration. So here in the settings, I can also modify any of those settings that I had seen just in the browser previously. So I have access to any channel I want. I can modify resolutions, frame rates. I can modify the OSD. I can modify recordings and events. All that stuff is available directly through the app as well. So you're not linked to a computer, so you don't have to use LPP on a browser. You can use purely the app as well. Okay. Now, I'm also going to show you guys how to add over this. So give me 1 second. Let me delete the device again. So I'm going to delete the same NVR. I just deleted it. Okay, so you can see here, the 16 channel NVR is gone. So I'm going to show you the adding process on the app. I'm going to click add device. And then in IP portal, I'm going to look for my 16 channel. And I can see it actually is here, so there's no problem. I'm going to click next, and then I'm going to look for it. So you can see here the 32 channel already shows as already added. So it'll actually be able to identify whether or not a device has been added into a cloud account, to be precise. So I'm going to select my 16 channel NVR, and it's going to add. It's not going to request a password because I have already set a password for adding. So in this case, when you're doing an add, over here in the top, you click on the 3 dots and you manage default device password. And you can type in the password that you want to use when logging into your NVRs. All of our NVRs in this case are using roughly the same password, so I've already set it. And you can see I have in fact added it without any issue. Okay, next I'm going to show you the sharing. So here I have LTS Connect. This is on a different account. So that's my email address. I don't particularly care about you guys seeing this email address because this is my junk one. So if you send any emails to it, I'm not going to reply to this email. Okay, but this is not the same as my actual account. Okay, so my account here, this is my work email address. So you can see these are 2 actually different accounts. They're not the same account. Okay. And I'm going to do a share. So I'm going to go back into my site where I see both my NVRs. I'm going to click on the three dots in the top right and then go to customer. So there's no sharings at the moment, which is why it shows as no data. I'm going to click plus, and now I can choose to share my devices. I can choose to share both devices, only one device, and even within, I can choose to share specific channels as well if I want to do it like that. If, however, you want to give full access, then you can just keep it as everything checked. In this case, let's give both NVRs over to my junk account. Okay, I'm going to click next. And you can see I have the option to hand over via QR code. Since I'm using Dex, I won't be able to scan the QR code. So instead, I'm going to type in the email address instead. Okay, so I've typed in the email address and I've clicked handover. So there it says it's waiting to be accepted as a share. And all I need to do is now come to my notifications. And you'll notice I now have a notification under services, which is a new section. If you've updated your LTS Connect app, you should note that this is new compared to before. There were no service tab here. And you can see there is a device handover application. Okay. You can see there's some kind of terms of use where they tell you about certain things, about what you can and cannot do, and what the provider, which is you as an installer, can do, which is things like I can disable access to the cameras. So if there is some issue with the customer for some reason, I can, disable access and then reassign access after the fact. Okay, I'm going to agree. It succeeded, and there. Now I have both the NVRs in this account, and I can do live viewing of the cameras, like so. I can also do playback. Sorry, I go into playback. And then let's go back a few days. Yeah, that should be fine. Right here. So everything that the customer would have been able to do, just like with scanning the QR code previously, they can do through this new method. Okay. The only real difference here is that your customer never actually needs to be there. So if the customer is busy doing something, the only thing they need to do is they just need to create an LTS Connect PT Cloud account. After they've done that, you can be at the work site, finish doing everything you need to do, create, an account, or sorry, add the device to your account, and then share it to your customer's account. And your customer really doesn't have to have any other input beyond that. Okay. So yeah, that is the kind of end of our little presentation here. So now this will be officially the Q&A time, which will be the last half of the webinar. So if there's any questions, you can, at this point, please feel free to keep asking. I see that there were quite a few questions. I don't know if you guys can actually see the responses or anything like that, but let me see if I can let me see if I can scroll back to the very first ones. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so first question. I'd like to hear more about this hosting of this service. Is it privately hosted by a company or a contracted hosting service like AWS or Google Cloud? LPP is hosted on AWS, okay, not privately hosted by us. Let's see. I'm concerned about the latency I've noticed in ProX service being also present in this new service. ProX is actually not part of the service. This is only in Platinum. ProX will have a different service for it, okay? This is for Platinum only. Next question. So does this offload some of the CPU demand from the local computer to the cloud? No, because your computer is still doing all the actual work. It's just accessing tools from the cloud. So your computer is still going to be doing it. So if you're trying to play back video or anything like that, your computer does have to decode the video. So it does not offload that. When you said port forwarding, do you mean open the port 80/443 to access NVR setting page? That is correct. That is what I meant. Typically, if you wanted to do some kind of configuration remotely, you would have to have HTTP or HTTPS port forwarded in order for you to be able to actually do any kind of configuration on the NVR or DVR remotely. Now it's no longer required to do any of that kind of stuff on LPP. So no port forwarding needed at all. Is this backwards compatible with older Platinum NVRs and cameras? As long as the Platinum NVR or camera supports PT Cloud, it will be supported. Next question. So can you log directly into the cameras for configuration? I find that there are often more configuration settings in the camera than on the NVR. Yes, you can log into the camera for configuration. Yes, there are a few settings, mostly in the image section for configuration of the camera compared to the NVR. Is there any setting needed in NVR before we can add to LPP? Really, you just have to turn on PT Cloud, though in the IP portal section, you can also enable PT Cloud on your NVR and set a verification code at the same time. So it's up to you whether or not you want to do it while you're installing the NVR or if you want to do it while you're on LPP. But beyond enabling PT Cloud, that's pretty much it. Will this work on Windows PCs and on Macs? Well, the LPP is found on the browser, so in theory, on Macs, it should be working. I can't necessarily answer at the moment on the full scope of it. I don't have a Mac myself, but we'll do more testing with Macs at some point so that we'll be able to tell you what % of functionality you can get over the browser. Next question. Do the NVRs have to be added while on the local network where the NVR is at? The NVRs do not have to be added while on the local network. However, if you're not on the local network, then the process is going to be a little more complicated because when you're doing the adding process, so for example, when you're doing an adding process, you do have to then know the information about your device. You need to know either the serial number or the verification code, or if you want, you can add as port forwarding, but that's not really the intent of this software, okay? Let's see. Are there any potential configuration changes that need to be made on the... Oh, I already answered this question, but just to answer it again, the only thing you need to do is enable PT Cloud. Okay. Sorry. In the past, when using browsers to log directly into an NVR or camera, we have to use Edge in admin mode to get full access to the configuration settings. Is this app compatible with all browsers and doesn't need to be run in admin mode? It is compatible with all current browsers, or like modern browsers, I guess you would call it. It does not need to be run in administration mode or administrator mode. Next question. With the new capabilities with PT Cloud, will there be a time limit on live viewing and playback? I guess this question depends on where specifically you're talking about live viewing playback, because the intent of LPP is not really for long-term live viewing or long-term playback. This is an installer tool. So, we have live view here, but this is really more meant for assisting you in some way. So if you wanted to check the view of your cameras so that you can adjust them or something like that, that's kind of what's meant to be used here for this live viewing. And playback might be for checking to see if there's any issues with the recording itself. The health monitoring service, so that is outside of the scope of the free portion of the capabilities that LPP provides. And in this webinar specifically, we are only going to be focusing on the free functionality that you'll get, which is going to be free for the entire duration of Platinum Partner, effectively. Okay, I believe probably at some point we will have a new webinar where we'll talk specifically about the extra services that can be provided by LTS Platinum Partner, but currently that is outside of the scope. Okay. Next question. I've been trying to set this up, but verification is not sending. Is this service available? I'm not entirely certain what this means. If you could clarify, or if it's too long for you to clarify in this webinar, maybe you can send this question like a a longer form question to your salesperson and have them forward it over to me, at which point I can answer that question maybe more in depth. My name is Perry. Most salespeople probably know who I am, so you can just tell them to send it to me. Uh, Next question. Do the video streams go through the cloud service or just connect the app to the NVR? So the video streams act the same as with PT Cloud. So PT Cloud, the only purpose of it is to do handoffs. Okay, so it allows a link to be made between the NVR and the person initiating the request. So in this case, if it's the app, then the app will connect to the cloud. The NVR is already connected to the cloud. And then the cloud service is going to see that, well, okay, the app wants to connect to that NVR and it's going to connect the two network connections together, at which point it will only be a connection between the application and the NVR. But the handoff is done by the cloud service itself, okay? Oh, okay, I see what's happening. So it sounds like you guys are having issues with registering for an account. I'll go take a look at that. I know people were able to register accounts recently, so there might be some kind of issue that they're having at the moment. Next question. Do I have to be on site to add, or can I do all devices in my LTS Connect app remotely? You do not have to be on site to add, but you do need to know the serial number again and the verification code of your device in order to add it remotely. Does law enforcement have access to the service? Uh, I'm I'm not sure what exactly that question means. Um, they have access as in they can use the service, or are you saying like do they have like a backdoor access to the service? Because that is not what they have. But they could use this service, so they could access this service. Hopefully that answered your question in the way that you wanted. No, they do not have that. Okay. They do not have backdoor access. And that looks like I've reached the end so far. Uh, Interesting. Usually there's a huge stream of questions that typically get asked. Um, any other questions? Oh, actually, I see some people are raising their hands. I guess they use through Zoom. Oh, what the? Oh, okay. I see. There's a section. Okay, sorry, my bad. There's actually a specific Q&A section now. My bad. Does it do a backup of the NV? Oh, okay. 1 second. It's kind of moving. Like three people just asked something really quickly. Does it do a backup of the NVR? No, it does not do a backup of the NVR. This is purely, again, a management system for you guys as installers. So this is assisting you in the installation process. Okay, this is to smooth it out and make it so that you can work almost anywhere with almost any kind of equipment. Okay. Will we be able to copy and paste passwords into the password sections? Are you talking about in the add device section? Like here, for example? Like when we are logging into LPP. Oh, like when you're logged out and you're trying to log in to this actual platform itself. Um, that I haven't actually tried. I guess we could try it right now. No, doesn't look like it's possible to actually do a paste into it. Though I believe that is actually a browser-based feature. So if a specific field is password locked, usually if you're using some kind of password manager or something like that, it would actually type it in for you. Though there are often times where you can also do a copy out of your password manager. Next question. Oh, actually, there is no next question. Let me now go into the Q. Oh, good. Can you do a configuration save through LPP and save it on the local machine that you are running LPP on? You can do an export of the configuration of the NVR or camera, and that will provide you with the file, the configuration file of that specific device, but it won't specifically be like an LPP specific kind of configuration. Okay. Well, for now, let's go into the Q&A section, which is a separate window here in Zoom. There's a question: can the tech and the office have access to the same customer DVR? So in this case, I'm imagining what you mean is, can the installer side, so your tech or maybe yourself, have access to the DVR, and also in this case the office. I'm assuming you're meaning the end user, your customer, the one who's actually purchasing the equipment, have access as well simultaneously. And yes, that is still how it is. So you will be able to have access. You are providing extra access over to your customer, so you still have control over it, and your customer has the ability to view it at the same time that you have the ability to view it and also configure it. Okay. Next question. Can I edit smart supplement light settings for specific cameras at my customer's home? Currently, I have to be on site. Yes, as you saw there, I was able to actually get into the configuration of the NVR, and you can get into the configuration of the cameras as well. So you'll be able to modify, supplement light, which is available currently now in both NVR or well, specific NVRs and IP cameras. Here's a question, but it's been asked a few times. Do the NVRs have to be added while on the local network? It does not have to be added while on the local network, though while on the local network would be the simplest procedure. Okay. Do you have a special account for low-level technicians? At the moment, that is not something that is available, but that will be coming with a separate service package, which is again outside of the scope of what's talked about here in this specific webinar. But that will be something that is going to be available for you in the future, where you will be able to create technician accounts that are underneath your own account. How do I migrate my cameras from LTS Connect because it says my NVR is bound? First of all, you will need to unbind the NVR or cameras from your LTS Connect account. And then after that, then you can add it onto your LTS Platinum Partner account. If you want to still be able to view it from LTS Connect afterwards, share it back to your LTS Connect account, and then you'll have it both on LPP and also LTS Connect. Next, do you have a feature for cloud recording of selected cameras? Currently, we do not have any kind of cloud recording features. Is automatic network config based on DHCP or is it a static IP delegated? Automatic configuration would be DHCP, not static IP. And if you're using cloud-based service, my recommendation would be to have devices on DHCP because static IP addresses are not required. And also having it on DHCP will allow it to survive certain specific network-based issues. I see that, yeah, there's this question about issues with the verification. We'll take a look at that, but currently, obviously, I'm in the middle of the webinar, so I can't actually resolve that issue. But we will look into that, and hopefully we'll be able to get that working for you guys very soon, okay? Is the device sync available at this time? I'm trying to sync with LTS Connect, and it tells me my creds are incorrect. The device sync should be available at this time, but I'll take a look to see what that issue is. So I will remember this, and I'll hopefully be able to get back to you. I'm actually going to put your name down so that I remember exactly what's going on. Oh, it looks like it looks like you asked me the same question again. Is automatic network config based on DHCP or a static IP address? It is on DHCP. Will the webinar video be available for later viewing? Yes, yes, it will be. You guys will get probably a YouTube link. It will most likely be an unlisted one, I think, or maybe it will be a listed one afterwards, and you'll be able to view the webinar later again at your own leisure. Can two installers have access to the same DVR? No, it is the same as with PT Cloud, meaning that devices can only be bound onto a single account. Okay, so if you have your account and you've bound an NVR onto your LPP account, a different LPP account cannot have that DVR bound onto their account. Okay. Next question. Do end users know we can also control DVR/NVR even if we don't know their password? Also, they can disconnect us from their end. Well, first of all, in order to control their DVR and NVR from the LPP, you do need to know their admin password. So that precludes the possibility of not knowing their password. Also, they can disconnect us from their end. No, because it is a shared device to them, so they don't actually have the full control. You have full control, and you're providing them access to it. If they want full control, they'll have to do the previous thing, which is to scan the QR code themselves, okay? Is there a limit to how many customers can be on this app? Um, I will actually have to check that. I have not seen a limit so far, so that's something I'm probably going to see if I can get right now for you. But I don't think there was, at least not a small limit. It would be pretty big because I've tried adding quite a few devices before. Um, yeah, I just got confirmation that there is no limit that we know of at the very least. There could, in theory, be like an actual technical limit, like just based upon programming limitations, but a realistic limit, unlikely. Thank you. No problem. No problem, Ted. Next question. I was able to sync the Platinum Partner app with LTS Connect app, but not all the devices were synced. Okay, that's interesting. Let me actually put your name down as well so that we can see what the issue is there. Sync. Okay. And then one last question. If I do unbind the NVR, will all the shared accounts be affected? Yes, if you unbind the device from your LTS Platinum Partner account, all the shares will be revoked. Okay. And then it looks like some more questions actually came out in the chat as well. Okay, I answered that. Still can't register. Okay, answered that a few times. If two or more users are accessing an NVR, are the streams multicast, or are the streams placing a double demand on NVRs? Well, multicast is really only available on, you know, um, layer 2, so you can't exactly multicast over cloud. That's not exactly a thing. So yeah, it will actually double bandwidth. Or well, it'll just be the combined amount of streams that are actually being streamed. So if one person's viewing 4, one person's viewing 2, it'll be 6 total streams. Next question, could I reset a client password remotely without being on the local network? If you know their password, then you can just change the password. But if you are off the network, then the other option that you have is via getting the or secure code through email address, or you can answer the security questions if you've set that up. Okay. I see you posted the same question twice. That's probably just on accident or something like that. And yeah, I have reached the new end of all the questions. So if you guys still have more questions, or maybe if I didn't clarify something enough for you guys, maybe I can hopefully get to you on that. And it looks like there's still someone who has a hand up. Herman, do you have any? Oh, it looks like you were the one who asked that last question. So I think I answered that for you. And then two more questions, or well, one more question came specifically. If one installer set up one DVR for some customer, but this customer changes installer later on, the second installer just reset the DVR and take over control. It's not specifically just resetting the DVR, but in the DVR or NVR, you will actually need to unbind the previous account. Okay. If you do not do that, then you cannot take over control. So you need to make sure to do the unbinding process. Okay. That last one is another thanks from Mike. No problem. That's what I'm here for. And again, you know, we've reached the end again. So we still have quite a few more. Oh, another question. Can you unbind locally at the NVR? It is possible to unbind locally at the NVR. You can do this in the PT Cloud section of the NVR. There should be an unbind button there. Assuming it is a relatively new firmware, I do have to make that to say that because older NVRs, such as ones with version 3 only firmware, will not have the ability to unbind locally or yeah, just unbind locally. You will have to send the serial number over to us here, LTS, and we'll have to provide the unbind for you remotely. Okay. Okay. Well, we still have 8 more minutes, so you know, we can wait it out, I guess. If there are still any more questions, you know, again, feel free to keep asking. Okay. That's what the whole point of this webinar is for. To hopefully get you guys to utilize this software. Though I do note that some of you guys are saying that you're having trouble registering, and hopefully we will get to the bottom of that for you guys very soon, because we do in fact want you to use the software, because we believe that it's going to make it a lot easier for you guys to actually do installations. I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a question, Bill, but that is in fact, yeah, no problem, no problem. But that is in fact the URL. Okay, so next question. Can you do firmware update through LPP? So you can technically do firmware update through LPP because you have the ability to do configuration of your NVRs or DVRs, and you can update through the configuration. If I also unbind it, will it affect NVMS 7000 configured PCs? If NVMS 7000 or NVMS v3 is used and they are not using PT Cloud and they are adding it through an IP address, such as say a local device is adding it with an IP address, those will not be affected. If you unbind it and it is through PT Cloud on NVMS 7000 or NVMS v3, more than likely v3, I don't believe NVMS 7000 can even connect correctly to the PT Cloud server anymore, then those will be affected. Next question. If the customer has security concerns and doesn't want us to know the password of the DVR/NVR, LPP cannot do anything, right? Yeah, in that case, then you're pretty much limited to what you would have done before, which is that the customer would have to be on site and add the device themselves onto their own account, or well, you would potentially walk them through adding the device onto their own account. LPP is meant as a way for you to have kind of centralized management yourself in assisting customers. This is more for a situation where the customers potentially may have issues remembering stuff themselves because, say, for example, you create shares. If your customer, for example, forgets their account because they create account specifically for LTS Connect, and they do something like they buy a new phone And when they buy a new phone, they're locked out and they're like, I don't remember what my account is, and I don't remember what my password is. I just created a new password, or sorry, a new account. Well, you can quite easily reshare them without having the customer to do really much of anything. So this is really meant to simplify the kind of relationship or help the relationship between you and your customer, especially in those times of like the simple types of support, which is a lot of times things like forgotten passwords or they've forgotten access to their devices. Just FYI, FortiGate is blocking this domain as newly observed domain. Um, yeah, I'm assuming that just means that it is it is in fact a new domain. So it could be potentially that they're blocking it because it's just too new, and maybe at some point it will change. Though FortiGate is something that I don't really use, so I can't necessarily say how long the requirement is for the domain to stay up before it is no longer new. Some firmware updates require pointing to the bin file locally. Will the NVR being updated be able to see a file located on the machine running LPP? Well, yes, it is through the HTML5, so it will have access to the whatever you normally would. Sandboxing only really applies when you're saving files and stuff like that, where it only goes into specifically sandboxed folders and whatnot. But if you're doing any kind of upload, then it will have access and you'll be able to upgrade your devices via a file. And usually they are DAB files when it comes to Platinum, okay? That should be the website. If it is not working, could you send us the specific error that you're getting? Because you say that it's not working, but there's a variety of different ways that the website could potentially not be working. So I need to know specifically what exact errors you're getting. It should be this right here, ltsplatnumpartner.com, right there. And it does look like, so some people are able to get it to work. Some people are telling us that they are able to get LTS Platinum Partner to work. Oops. Oh, what the heck? Oh, no. Is it because I need this? Did I mess this up? What the heck? Oh, yeah, you're right. There. Okay, so it is working. I thought I would automatically assume it's www, but I guess I haven't used my browsers too often.